Hello, 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 everyone. My name is Linda Peavy, and I'm the owner of LaPav Consulting, and I'm going to be the host for today, where we are going to talk about how to write grants for women-owned businesses and women-led nonprofits. Again, my name is Linda Peavy. I'm the owner of LaPav Consulting. I'm going to be your host for today. And as you come into the room, I want you to say hello to me. Give your city or your state a shout out. I am in Northeast Ohio, where it is like 47 degrees, and I'm not complaining because those of you who know Ohio know that there could be a foot of snow on the ground. So I am happy. So say hello as you come into the room. We have a lot to get through today, so we are going to get moving. It is noon. Thank you so much for joining us. So as you come in, hey, Nashville, how are you? Say your city or state as you come in so you can give yourself a shout out. Holly is in Philadelphia. Hey, I lived near Philadelphia for about 10 years. Hey, we got Houston represented by Jenny is in the house. So come on, give your city or your state a shout out. Again, my name is Linda Peavy, and I'm the owner of LaPav Consulting, LLC. I'm going to be your host for today, where we are going to talk about getting these grants for you as a woman-owned business or woman-led nonprofit. We are going to give you a lot of information today. Do not worry. This webinar is being recorded. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that, because I'm going to go fast because I have a lot of information to share with you today. And we are off to the races. We're going to get started as we welcome Yvonne from Akron. And hey, Simone is in Northeast Ohio too. I'm right outside of Cleveland. Hey, Jacqueline from Connecticut. Ooh, and Wanda is in, I know, sunny Florida. We've got Callista. Ooh, what a beautiful name. I hope I didn't butcher it. From, is it Pocatello, Idaho? Hey, Idaho. Come on in, and we're welcoming, hey, Sophia from our neighbors to the north. Canada is in the house. Hey, Canada, come on in. My name is Linda Peavy. Again, I'm the owner of LaPav Consulting, LLC, and I'm going to be your host for today, where we are going to talk about how we get this money for our woman-owned business or our woman-led nonprofit. So we're going to get started. Just so you know, we are being recorded. So I'm going to go fast. I'm going to give you a ton of information, but don't worry, we're being recorded. Please, a little bit of housekeeping. As I go through, I know you'll have questions, and that's okay. Put your questions into the Q&A, because at the end, we're going to do a really in-depth Q&A. So don't go anywhere. Please stay until the end. You don't want to miss the Q&A, and you don't want to miss the bonus that I have for you. So we're going to get started. The first thing you're going to see is just about a 30-second TV commercial that aired about my company. It'll give you a little more information about me and who I am and what I do. So we're going to get started.
Hi, I'm Linda Peavy, owner of LaPav Consulting. My passion is to place your organization on the path to excellence. Are you struggling to communicate your message, reach target audiences, or secure funding? From marketing communications to grant writing, we achieve your goals. We've worked with high-profile clients and have secured $17 million in funding for charter schools and nonprofits. Call today to discuss what your success looks like and how LaPav Consulting can help.
All right, so that was just a little bit about me. So now what we're going to do is start the presentation, and we are going to make sure that everybody is in the right place. So we are going to start our slides here, and you should be in the grant writing for women-owned businesses webinar live. I'm coming to you live at noon. We are going to have another session at 7 p.m. So you know, if anyone who wants to join us, I'll be sure to give you the link before we end, because I have another live session at 7 o'clock. All right, we're off to the races. So a little bit more about me. Yes, they call me the Grants Queen because I have secured more than $17 million in grants and funding for my clients. And you know, there's a difference, right, between writing a grant and getting the money, right? So I've been blessed to be able to raise that amount of money for my clients. I've also been involved in creating those scoring templates that are used to score grant applications. I've written the grant application, and yes, I do conduct workshops all over the country for organizations. I was also the former executive director of a nonprofit. So let me know who you are. Are you a for-profit? Are you a nonprofit? Or maybe, and this is what I'm finding, a lot of for-profits are beginning to create nonprofit organizations. So if you're both, let me know. So put it to the chat, right? Are you a nonprofit, a for-profit, or both? Now, a little bit more about how I got to the $17 million, right? I used to be a publishing executive in Pennsylvania many years ago, Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. And I literally had to quit my job because I got injured. I came home literally in a wheelchair because I couldn't walk, I couldn't stand. It took me 2 years to recuperate. And once I was better and was able to work, I couldn't get a job. It didn't matter that I had more than 20 years of experience. I could not get a job. And so I literally had to create my own company. And that's what I did. And this year is the 15th year of me owning LaPav Consulting. But when I started, one of my first jobs was to be a contracted executive director of a nonprofit. And literally, like as soon as I started, I was like called into the board of directors office. And I was told that I had to write a grant, literally, to save my job, to save the job of the executive director. And that really meant saving the job of the entire organization, right? And so as women, aren't we often called in to like save the day with these organizations? Like if you can hear what I'm saying, if you've experienced that, give me a yes in the chat where we're called in to either save a program or sometimes save a project or sometimes save the whole organization. And so I had to learn how to write grants because I had to write a grant for my own position to literally save my job. And you know what? I learned how to do it. I learned how to write grants. Yes, Tammy, right? We, as women, we're called, Star says yes, okay? You know we're called in as women to save these organizations. And that's exactly what I ended up doing, right? But I learned how to write grants and I learned how to write grants well. And I learned that there's a connection between being able to write a grant and securing free money. Ladies, you're going to hear that all afternoon. Free, right? Free grant money. And so I knew that there was a real need for organizations to have free grant money in order to sometimes secure their operations, save their operations. And I learned that there's that connection, right, between learning how to write a grant and getting free money, right? And so this is what I'm going to teach you today is this connection, right, as to learning how to write a grant and then securing money, sometimes to open up your operations, sometimes to expand your operations. The money is available, right? So we're going to cover that. We're going to cover why this class is important. We're going to talk about the 3 keys to funding. What is the philanthropic landscape right now and how is it affecting you as a woman-owned business or nonprofit? Grant basics. How do you prepare to write? That's important. Where do you write? How do you write? And then, oh my gosh, how do you attract the right funder? Then we're going to, if we have time, we'll talk a little bit about bid proposals. But definitely I want to tell you, how do you get noticed? How do you get that application notice? Because you know you're in a sea of competition, right? And then I'm going to give you literally a list of grant opportunities that you can apply for right now, okay? And like I said, don't go anywhere because we're going to do an in-depth Q&A and then have a bonus surprise for you. Kim says, yes, you know we're called in to save these organizations as women. So why this class is important. Look, we as women entrepreneurs, and I'm a small business owner too, we need help, right? Other than loans, right? And grant money is free, but we know that grant writing is a skill and it can be costly, right? At the end of the day, nobody's going to be able to tell your story better than you. And I can assure you that grant writing is expensive. I'm a professional grant writer, and we on my level charge anywhere between $100 to $200 an hour to write grants, right? But what you need to know is that you don't have to be a professional grant writer. You know what you need? You need to know the process. And I'm here to teach you that this afternoon. Now, 2 incidents completely changed the landscape of philanthropy. One was COVID-19. So before COVID-19, it was unheard of for women-owned businesses, for profits, right, to get free grant money. We know that when you thought of a grant, what did you think of? You thought of nonprofits. But during COVID-19, so many small businesses went under, right? And so foundations and major corporations took note and they said, you know what, we have to do something. We're losing our small businesses. And you know that small businesses is the backbone, right, of the U.S. economy. And so they decided to create these pools of grant funding that they would be able to give to women-owned businesses. And that's why, and I've been doing this for 15 years, I can assure you I have never seen the amount of free grant money that I've seen now that's available to you as a for-profit. Yes, a for-profit organization, right? And then, of course, there's still COVID-19 money available. Just know that if you start to see the COVID-19 grants, you need to talk about how you were affected by COVID-19. Did you have to lay off employees, right? Did you have to close? So because of COVID-19, there's grant money for us women-owned for-profits and our women-led nonprofits. The other incident was the George Floyd incident. So when George Floyd was murdered, once again, you had foundations and large corporations saying, we cannot sit back and do nothing. We have to talk about racial injustice in America. So what did they do? Okay, they knew what they had available, and that was what? Cash, right? And so once again, they created grant funding that could be used for-profit organizations and nonprofit organizations to address what we call diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI. So if your organization in any way addresses racial injustice or any type of diversity issues or equity or inclusion or even socially conscious causes, maybe you deal with the homeless, maybe you deal with this drug epidemic, right? Maybe you deal with those that are living in poverty. Once again, we find ourselves with pools of cash in the form of grant money available to us as minorities, and women are considered minorities. So you, once again, as a woman-owned business or woman-led nonprofit, you have the opportunity to get this grant money, and especially if you're a Black-owned organization. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about just some grant basics. What you need to know about grants is that they are not paid back. Okay, this is free money. There's that word again, free money. Now, I'm just talking to you nonprofits for a couple of seconds. If you are a nonprofit and you want grant funding, you must get your 501c3. What is that? That is your tax-exempt charitable organization designation that can only be provided by the Internal Revenue Service. There's some scammers out here. Don't be fooled. Only the IRS can deem you to be a 501c3. Why is it important? Because foundations are not going to give you grant money if you don't have your 501c3 as a nonprofit. What I really don't want you to do is use fiscal agents. The fiscal agent is a nonprofit that already has their 501c3, and they're operating as like a go-between, a third party that's getting the grant funding, right? The grant goes to them, and then they give the grant money to you. Well, if I'm a foundation, I don't want to deal with a third party. I'm giving you money because of your program. I want that money to go directly to you. And this is why foundations do not like to deal with fiscal agents, right? So get your own 501c3 if you have a nonprofit. Now, the good news is it used to take literally 3 to 6 months to get your 501c3. The IRS, they're on a roll. Now it's taking literally 6 to 8 weeks to get your 501c3. So if you have a nonprofit, yes, you need to get your 501c3. Now, everybody look at this slide. What is this saying? It's saying that the money is available, ladies. Don't think that the money is not available. People thought that because we were in a pandemic, all of a sudden the money was just gone and nobody was giving. Look at this foundation giving in 2021, right? It increased over $90 billion. That's a 3.4 increase from 2020. And guess what? When 2022 numbers come, it'll be even higher. Ladies, look at this number, $90 billion. We don't need the whole $90 billion. Do you need the whole $90 billion for your organization? No. What do you need? We just need a little bit, just a little bit. I want you to put into the chat. I just need a little bit. What could you do with just a little bit of $90 billion, right? We're not trying to be greedy. I just want you to get a little bit of the $90 billion to open your organization, grow your organization. So put into the chat, I just need a little bit. I just need a little bit. Okay. That's all. We're not trying to be greedy. Okay. We just need a little bit of the $90 billion. And I'm going to show you, ladies, how to get a little bit of it. Now, that's right. Hope, Tammy, We're not trying to be greedy. We just need a little bit, Lottie. We just need a little bit. That's all we need is a little bit, right? Of the $90 billion. Wanda, we're not trying to be greedy. We just want a little bit, right? Just a little bit. Now, how do you prepare to write grants? This is a mistake too many people make. They look at the grant application, they download it, they fill it out, they send it out, and then they wonder why they get a rejection letter, right? Well, I need to teach you how to prepare to write grants. Now, I want you to just hone up on your writing skills. This is nothing fancy. We know there are 5 basic writing skills. I'm just concerned with number 5, editing and rewriting, because what I don't want you to do is submit an application full of grammatical errors. Okay, nobody wants to read that. I'm a professional grant writer and editor. I use Grammarly. Grammarly is a free, there's that word again, free software tool that will edit your documents for you. If you're using Grammarly, give Grammarly a shout out in the chat. It is phenomenal. Now, I use the professional version, which is about maybe $150 a year, but you don't need that. You can get away with the free version. And I want you to download this article. This is your first homework, okay? Improve writing skills dramatically by doing these 15 things. I use this article. You use this article, please. It will make you a better writer. So I'm going to give you tea all afternoon. So this is the first cup of tea. I want you to download this article, okay? Now, how are we preparing to write these grants? You need to get your documentation in order. Yes, right, Catherine, Callista, is it 10, Janita? Isn't Grammarly like phenomenal? Okay, it is phenomenal. So documents, get your documents in order. Your EIN, you need your employer identification number. If you are a nonprofit, you need your 501c3. If you are a for-profit especially, you need to make sure that you are in good standing legally to do business in your state. Every state is different, so make sure, more homework after we're done, go to your Secretary of State's website, right, to make absolutely sure that you have a current business license. Now, every state does not require one. I'm in Ohio, we are required to have a business license. So make sure you go to your Secretary of State's website to find out whether or not you need a license to legally do business. I was doing this webinar last year, and a young lady came on and she said, Linda, you're so right. I was applying for a grant. The competition was stiff. I was the only one who was able to get this grant because I could show I had my business license. I had my state certification. So it matters. It makes a difference. What else do you need? You need your list of your board of directors, right? Your staff. Letters of support are important. Why? Because they show the funder that you have other organizations that support you. Who are your letters coming from? They could come from your pastor, your church, community leaders, your other vendors, right? Anybody that knows what you're doing, what you're trying to accomplish, and that you're worthy of the grant money. Now, some applications will require an audited financial statement. If they do, you need to have a CPA completed. The operating budget becomes really important. And for you startups, yes, you need an operating budget because you need to know, how much is this costing me? Like, I want to open up this organization. What is it going to cost me? And when you create that budget and those line items, it will guide you to knowing how much grant money to ask for. Because when you create that budget, you may have money for some of the items. You may have money to open and maybe pay the lease or even hire employees. But when you're looking at that budget, you might see, okay, well, I didn't think about money for advertising and marketing. Okay, I need to write a grant for advertising and marketing. So whether or not you're a startup or you're seasoned, you need an operating budget. Next, you need a list of any other funding sources that you have. So if you have received grant funding, it could even be in-kind donations from other organizations. You need to include them on that grant application. Part of the reason is that as a foundation or a funder, I don't want to be the only source of your funding, because if you don't get that grant in year 2, and you know that grants are not guaranteed, I don't want to shoulder the responsibility of your organization going under because I didn't give you a grant. So funders want to see that there are other foundations and funders that also support you. So any other funding that you have, and again, it can be an in-kind donation, be sure that you list it and put it on the application so that these organizations know, yes, there are other organizations too. There are other foundations and companies that support my mission and support my organization. Now, what to write. These are the typical grant components of a grant application. We're going to go through the list and then we're going to talk about each one separately. your summary, mission, history, leadership, how you describe your organization. What are you addressing? What is that need, right? Who are you targeting with your service? Describing your program or your project, community partnerships, next your results, right? In the form of outputs, outcomes, and impact, your staff, your board, budget, and then we're going to talk about sustainability. We're off to the races. Now we're talking about how to write. Be sure you put those questions in the Q&A. The first part of the application that you'll see is the summary. Whatever you do, don't be fooled. It's the first part of the application. You always, always, always write it last. Why? Because it's going to include the most compelling components of your grant application. So don't be fooled. You're going to see it first. You always write it last. Next is your mission vision statement. Now, you should have a mission, right, as an organization, but do you have a vision? You're going to be asked for your vision statement. That's more homework for those of you who don't have one. What is the vision statement? Is what you would like to have happen in the future if you are achieving your mission statement, right? So what is the mission? That's what are you doing now? What are your aims? What are your goals? What do you hope to achieve, right? Now, the mission becomes so important because this is how you find your perfect funder. You want to align your mission to the mission of the organization that you're going after funds from, right? Because if you are focused on K through 12 education, you need to make sure that the mission, right, of that foundation is also geared towards K through 12 education. So you want to align those missions to help you find who is going to be interested in giving you funding. Next, the history. What you need to know, every organization has a history. Doesn't matter if you're brand new, okay? You have a history. I always like to, no, this is not just for nonprofits. This is for everyone. I'm talking about, what I'm talking about now, Kizzy, is for, doesn't matter if you're a for-profit or a nonprofit. This entire presentation is for both. Only the 501c3 applies to nonprofits. That's it. So the history, think about this. I like to use the example of a former principal, right? She's starting a tutoring organization. She was the principal of a high school, grades 9 through 12. And so she retired and she's starting a tutoring organization. Well, she's starting the tutoring organization because she knew as a principal, those students in grades 9 through 12 were achieving below grade level in math and reading. And she wants to be able to come back and tutor them with her organization. Now, when she's writing about her history, she's writing about what was the impetus for her starting the organization. Well, she was a principal at a high school and she saw what the need was from those students who were underperforming in math and reading. So just because you're new doesn't mean you don't have a history. Talk about what was the impetus for you starting your organization, okay? Leadership. Next, we're just talking about what is your executive leadership. You're going to list your CEO, your COO. What you need to know is that your board is also a part of your leadership, okay? Next, you're describing your organization. Here, you're really talking about a track record of working with the target population. So, for example, that principal, well, she has years of working with who she's targeting because she was the principal of a high school. So just talk about what has been your experience in working with whomever it is that you're serving, and talk about your success rate. Talk about your success factors, right? Use data. Use how you've been able to impact people through your organization. This is how you set yourself apart in these grant applications. We'll talk about target populations in a second. Next, you're going to address your statement of need. Like, what is the problem? And what you need to know is that there is always, always a problem, okay? It doesn't matter what you're doing, what your product is, what your service is. You have to frame what you're doing in the form of resolving an issue. This is critical, okay? And I like to use the example of like a bakery, a restaurant bakery, right? She wants to locate in a downtown community. She wants to locate in an area where there have been many other failed businesses, right? And her target market is the businesses, right, that surround the bakery because she wants to be able to provide catering to them. You might be thinking, well, I mean, she's just like a bakery. What problem is she solving? Well, maybe she's a vegan bakery and she's solving problems of people who would like some sweets, but they're vegan. Okay, maybe she's solving the problem of economic development because she's getting ready to locate in a downtown neighborhood where there's been other failed businesses. So she's contributing to the economic development, right, of that community. So it doesn't matter what you're doing, always look at how you are resolving an issue. So yes, the entire presentation is being recorded. Are you connecting with the target problem of your funder's areas of interest? And this is how you're going to do that. Whatever problem it is that you are resolving, you want to make sure that that funder or that foundation also has an interest in resolving the same issue. That's how you connect with the funder, to make sure that you are seeking funds from a foundation where you have some type of connection to. Now, how do you find information about the foundation? Keep in mind, 90% of foundations do not have a website. I'm going to say that again. 90% of foundations do not have a website. So what do? Right? This is more tea for you. You check out their 990. The 990 is a gold mine. What is it? It is the tax document that all nonprofits and foundations have to submit to the IRS. It is their tax form, right? It is a gold mine of information, because on that 990, you're going to get information about the executive team of that organization. But if you scroll to the back of the 990, you're going to see a list of other organizations that that foundation has donated to. And when you look at that list, you're going to be looking for similar organizations as yours. So if you have an equestrian program where you use horses to heal veterans, you're going to be looking for other organizations that use animals in the service of healing. And if you see similar organizations, you're going to realize, okay, we have a match here. Maybe that's the foundation I need to be requesting funds from. How do you get the 990? Okay. Well, there are plenty of companies where you pay a fee and they give you access to companies and organizations in the 990s. But because I told you we're going to be giving you free all afternoon, you can go to this website and it will give you the 990 of any organization that has filed a 990 free of charge, right? projects.propublica.org/nonprofits. Thank you so much. Irene is helping me this morning for dropping that into the chat. Yes. Free. You're going to get access to free 990s. They are a gold mine. Use them well. Next, who is your target population? You're going to write this in the grant application. Who are you helping? And you cannot, I'm going to say this more than once, you cannot be helping everybody, right? I know in your heart you might want to help everybody. You cannot help everybody. You have to determine who would best be served by your service or your product or your program, right? You cannot help everybody. So maybe it's gender-based. Maybe you have a program that's geared towards women. Maybe it's based on ethnicity and you're helping African Americans. Maybe it's based on income and you are serving those who are below the poverty, that live below the federal poverty line. Maybe it's age-based. Maybe your program is for either kids under the age of 5 or senior citizens, right? Maybe it's based on geography and you're just targeting people in your local community, or maybe it's in your county, state, nationwide. Anytime you need demographics, please go to the census.gov. Don't sleep on the census, okay? Free. This is a free website where you can go to get information. Let's say your daycare center you want to open and you want to find out, like, how many kids are under the age of 5 in my community. Census.gov. Okay. All free information to really take a look at who would best be served by your organization. We're really talking about how do you tell your story, because you're selling your organization to this foundation or to this funder, right? But something I want you to keep in mind when you're writing that grant, don't make yourself the hero. Who is the hero? Your target population. Why? Because that's where the transformation takes place. Think about those high school kids that now they're receiving tutoring and now they are performing at grade level proficiency in reading and math, and maybe that leads them to be able to graduate and go to college or take a trade or join the armed services, right? The transformation occurs within them. Let's say you have an organization where you're helping the homeless get shelter, right? When that homeless person gets shelter, maybe they have the opportunity now to get a job, right? Or to go back to school. The transformation takes place in your target population, right? So that's why you want to keep them as the focus of your narrative. All right. So ask yourself, have you really told your story the best right? Have you talked about how you've changed lives, right? You have to be able to appeal to emotions. I've been in so many different meetings with program directors of foundations, and I can assure you that we could be talking about the organization for 30 minutes, but when we start to provide an example of testimonials or case studies, and we use a video, it is a game changer. All of you, if you have a website, you should have a video on the homepage of that website where you are showcasing testimonials. And for those of you who don't know, yes, you need a website. Let me tell you that foundations and funders, that's one of the first places they're going to go to find out information about you is a website. So I keep hearing this information about people don't need websites. If you want grant money, you're going to need a website. If you're interested, my web designer is phenomenal. She's been designing and developing websites for literally over 25 years, and she's reasonable. I'm hearing crazy stories about people wanting like $15,000 just to provide a simple website. No. It can be so much cheaper than that. Really reasonable. So if you're interested in talking with my web designer, drop your email into the chat and I'll provide that information to her. But you need to be providing videos, and it doesn't have to be expensive, right? Literally, people know that I'm an Android girl, but if you have that little iPhone, you can have them literally talking to your phone for 2 minutes, your customer saying how these are the best cupcakes they've ever tasted in their life, right? You can have a student talk about how they went through your tutoring program and it completely changed how they looked at their academics. And that video really does need to be on the home page, right, of what? Your website, because you're going to get a website, right? Now, you have a decision to make when you're asking for grant funding. Are you asking for operating dollars or program project dollars? What is the difference? When you ask for operating money, you decide where to put the money. It could be for your lease or for your marketing or to hire employees. You decide where it goes. But maybe you have a specific program where you need funding. Let's say that restaurant, the bakery, she wants to start a delivery service. So she's looking for money just to pay for the expenses associated with the delivery service, right? What is the difference here? What you need to know is that you can apply for both from different organizations. So one organization, right, you can literally apply for operating dollars. Another organization, you can apply for program project dollars, right? What you should be doing is applying for multiple grants. Please don't just apply to one grant. And you can apply to multiple grants for the same item, okay? So let's say you need to hire 1099 contractors. You can apply for $20,000 from Foundation A and $20,000 from Foundation B. For the same project, you need $20,000 to hire employees. Now, you might say, well, what if I get it from both organizations and I end up with $40,000? What you're not going to do is give the money back, right? We don't give grant money back. What you do is instead of hiring one person, maybe you hire two. Or if you were maybe only going to give that person 10 hours a week, maybe you now give them 20 hours a week. You should all be applying to multiple foundations, right? For the same need, okay? Please don't just apply to one foundation. How do you determine what your needs are, right? You're going to look at your budget and decide where you have gaps and where you have deficits. Next, you're just describing your project or your service, whatever it is. Just make sure that you talk about your track record, if you've been successful, right? Or if it's a particular project where this is going to be new for you, you need to do some research and make sure it will be successful. Let's look at the tutoring organization. She wants to use project-based learning to teach those high school students. Well, she needs to do research and make sure that project-based learning is going to be suitable and has been successful in increasing the reading and math scores of urban high school students. So at the end of the day, just think about how are you addressing an issue. While I take a little sip. All right. Next, we're talking about community partnerships. What do you need to know? I hear this all the time from for-profits. You get antsy. You think, well, I don't want to have a partnership. I don't want to give away some of my money. No, community partnerships do not have to include you releasing any financial dollars at all, right? It could look a number of ways. Your third-party vendor could be listed as a community partner. This is important because on every grant application I've seen for the last several years, they're going to ask you, what are you doing in the community? Are you working with some partner in the community to move your organization forward, right? And you could use a third-party vendor, right? This is really great, especially for new organizations, new for-profits and new nonprofits, to be able to connect with some established community partner that is in the area. I'll give you an example. I was writing a grant years ago for a third grade class. They wanted to teach these students the violin. This was an urban school, right? We were partnering with the Cleveland Orchestra, right? Clearly one of the greatest orchestras in the world, right? They were coming in after school to teach these third grade students the violin. So think about, how can you partner with other organizations? And it could be universities, women's business organizations, other women's businesses, right? That bakery is partnering with an event planner in the community where she's making sure there are flyers for the event planner in her shop. And the event planner is utilizing the bakery, right, as a part of the services that she offers. So there's so many ways that you can partner and collaborate. It becomes really important for the grant application. All right, next we're talking about, how do you show your results? How do you show results, right? You're going to forecast, and I don't want you to be scared of this word, because all you're doing is writing what you hope to have happen if you get the grant money in the future, right? So some grant applications ask for one of these, some ask for all three. So we'll talk about all three. What are outputs? That's the immediate results. You give me $20,000 and this is what is going to happen. This is what I'm going to do with this money. Outcomes happen about 6 months to a year down the road as a result of the outputs. So as a result of you giving me $20,000, this is what I'm going to be able to achieve in 6 months or a year. Impact is a little bit further. That's usually a year to 2 years down the road, but it's based on what you were able to accomplish as your outputs. And of course, your outputs, they're based on the outputs, right? The outcomes, whether are based on the outputs. I'll give you an example. A daycare center said, well, if you give me $20,000, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to open and serve 100 families and 250 children. I've chosen a location. I need $20,000. This is what's going to happen, right? Well, that's going to happen right now. Once you give me the $20,000 in 6 months, because you gave me the $20,000 and I was able to open and serve 100 families and 250 children, we're going to grow our capacity by 40%. We're going to start 24/7 services around the clock, right? 6 months down the road, because you were able to give me money and I opened. Well, as a result of us growing by 40% and providing these 24/7 services, a year from now, this is what's going to happen. 25% of our families will experience less stress. Why? Because they can drop their kids off 24/7, right? Wouldn't you experience less stress? Also, 65% of our children that we serve, they're going to demonstrate improved behavior, right? Because we have this fantastic educational program. But also, a year from now, because we grew by 40% and we provided these 24/7 services, we're going to expand to 2 locations. So all you're doing is looking at what you expect to have happen if you get the money. You need to put this in the grant application, right? Also, you need to talk about your goals, and they can't just be regular goals. They need to be SMART goals. And I know many of you have heard of SMART goals. They're specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. Well, how do you translate a regular goal into a SMART goal? Because that's what you're putting in the grant application. A regular goal could be like, I want to reduce the poverty rate in Cleveland. Well, that is a huge, broad goal, right? How do you change it to a SMART goal? A SMART goal would say, I want to reduce the poverty rate by 5% in Cleveland for Hispanic children under the age of 5 within a 5-year time frame. What did I do, right? How did I transfer a goal into a SMART goal? I added data and statistics. That's all you have to do. I added measurable data and statistics. Next, you're going to need to have some type of a way to prove that your program or your service is working. I love surveys, reports, maybe follow-up interviews with your clients. I like SurveyMonkey. There's JotForm. Maybe the restaurant is providing surveys to those who were able to take advantage of the delivery service. For the principal, right, she can utilize the test reading and math results, right, to determine whether or not those students actually improve their proficiency levels after they took the tutoring. So you have to talk about ways in which you can prove, right, that what you are doing works. Okay. Next, the staff leading the project. It could be you, or maybe you have other staff that you're thinking about that's going to be in charge of whatever this program or project is that you're thinking of, or maybe the entire operations, and that would be you. Well, especially for you for-profits, you probably have not updated your bio or your resume in like years. Where you're going to need to do that. This is more homework, because if you're going to be seeking grants, you need an updated bio and an updated resume. What are we talking about here? This is all about oversight. That foundation and that funder wants to know that you have the right people for the right job, because they want to make sure there's accountability in your organization. Next, we're talking about the budget. So what do you need to know? Itemize your expenses. This is critical. If you're asking for $50,000, you just can't say, I want $50,000 to hire an executive director. No, no, no. The $50,000, what is it for? Is it for payments for 6 months of the ED? Is it going to pay for a year for the executive director? And what is it? Is it W-2 wages? In that case, you need another line for benefits, right? Or are you hiring a contract executive director, right, where you're not paying any benefits? You need to be specific. And where do you place that information? Where you're itemizing those expenses in the budget narrative, right? That's where you're talking about how you're using the money in the budget, right? And this budget pertains to the budget of the money that you're asking for. So if you're asking for $50,000, you need to create a budget to show that foundation how you're using the $50,000, right? But whatever you do, and this is where a lot of organizations fail, you want to make sure that you are connecting that money back to the goal of the program. That is key. Connect it back to the goal of the program. All right. So this is a fun one. Sustainability. You know that grants are not guaranteed. So just because you get a grant in year one does not mean you're going to get a grant in year two. So how do you sustain that program? How do you write in that application? Because remember I said foundations, they don't want to know that once that grant money is gone, there's no program, right? So you literally have to write in the application how you're going to sustain that program in year two. So I want to do just a really quick, fast activity. Think about that high school, right? They got the $20,000 for their tutoring program, but guess what? They have to write in that grant application how they're going to sustain that tutoring program in year two when they might not get the $20,000. So I want you to put into the chat right now, how would a high school write into an application how they're going to come up with $20,000 to pay for the tutoring program in year two? Think about this. This is a high school. What could a high school do, right? To write into an application to say, yes, we're going to come up with $20,000 in year two to pay for this program. This is a high school. Think about this. Put into the chat, high school. How are they going to come up with $20,000? What can they do? Yes, exactly. Fundraising. For absolutely, Tammy, fundraising, right? Because they could say, we're going to have a car wash. We're going to sell school merchandise. Maybe they're going to have like a talent show, right? Fundraisers, absolutely. Maybe they are going to have a bake sale, right? So you have to be creative and think about ways in which you can put into the application how you're going to be able to sustain whatever it is you're asking money for in year two, when you may not have the grant funding. Okay. So I'm on to some do's. If you take nothing else away from this webinar, this is critical. Whatever you do, please meet with the funder first. Meet with the funder first. It can make the difference as to whether or not you get the grant application. Look, I have been in too many meetings with foundation leaders and funders where I heard them say, look, if I have an application and nobody has called me, tried to meet with me, sent me an email, that application probably will go into the trash. Now, that's not every foundation. Some foundations, they don't want to meet with you. They will tell you, look, fill it out, send it off, We're not meeting with anybody. And that's okay. But if you have the opportunity, meet with the funder first, literally. It will make the difference. And in that meeting, you're going to learn so much more about that grant than they ever put on the website, right? They're going to learn more about you than they will ever be able to see and read from your website. I literally, just a couple of weeks ago, a client of mine had him meet with the funder. The funder didn't know that organization, had never heard of the organization, but those missions align, right? It was a veterans organization, and this funder gave to veterans organizations, but they didn't know it. They'd never heard of the client. 30-minute meeting. He walked away with a $30,000 grant. Okay, after 30 minutes. It happened literally 2 months ago. The same thing. Set up a meeting with the client, between the client and the funder. The client walked away with $5,000 guaranteed, and then another $30,000 over the course of the next 3 years, right? You have to meet with the funder. And let me say this, if they like you, if that foundation likes you, they will tell you what to put on that grant application so that it can be approved. I've seen it all, right? So please meet with the funder first. Now, whatever you do, ladies, consider time management, because if that deadline is 4:59 and you submit that application at 5 o'clock, oh, you're going to have a bad day. You're going to have a bad day. Okay. Whatever you do, adhere to those timelines and address every question. Now, if there's a question that doesn't pertain to you, don't leave it blank, because if you are submitting an online application, they may think that it's an application that is not complete, and they may reject it. So if there's a question that does not pertain to you, just put NA, not applicable. Okay. At the end of the day, this is truly about having a mindset of winning, because I've seen this too often. If you go into this thinking, oh, there's no way, I'm not going to get any money, why even try? Well, we already know the money is available. We already know that women are getting money every single day. They're getting millions of dollars every single day. Women that look just like you and I are getting money every single day. So why not you? You have to go into this with a positive attitude, with the mindset of winning, right? Because it's happening. There's money that's been made available to us right now that was never available before. So please maintain a positive attitude, because some of you are scared that these grant applications are like 200 pages. No, they're no longer 200-page dissertations. I looked at literally 2 grant applications earlier this year that were for over $1 million each one. You know what they wanted? They wanted like 15 double-spaced pages, which is like 7 single-spaced pages, right? An application was due literally 2 weeks ago for $25,000. They wanted a 500-word essay. So please don't think that you have to write and write and write and write. No, that's not what grant applications are anymore. So you have to know that you can do this because it's being done. These are some of the don'ts. Don't use cookie cutter answers based on a template. Look, I love templates. I use templates all the time, but don't think that you can copy and paste from one grant application into 30 different other grant applications, right? Because every grant application is different. There's some information that you can put, like your mission statement and maybe your history, but you really have to address every grant application separately. And whatever you do, don't ask for too much money when you are approaching a funder for the first time, right? Because you're not going to get it. If you go in asking for $100,000, they don't know you. They don't know that you're a good steward of money. So I always recommend to ask for between $5,000 and $25,000 like the first time. Now, there are some funders, there are some foundations, and most foundations will tell you the amount of the grant, right? But especially community foundations, they won't tell you what the amount is. You have to tell them what you're asking for. So if you come across that situation, be conservative the first time, okay? And don't ask for too much money. And then, of course, you're going to use Grammarly, because you're not going to submit these applications with grammars in them. Now, I told you about the importance of meeting with the funder. How do you meet with the funder? You create a letter of introduction. And in this letter, you're going to describe your organization, right? You're going to talk about whatever your statement of need is. You're going to talk about your target population. You're going to align those missions, right? Because you want to make sure, like, this is your target, one of your target foundations. Do not ask for money in this letter. That's not what this letter is for. This letter is to get a meeting with the funder. But guess what? How do you get the information about the funder? Well, now you know to go to the 990, right? Or maybe they do have a website, but how do you get their email address? Because what I don't want you doing is sending this letter to like info@abcfoundation.org. I don't want it going into the hemisphere where it'll be lost and nobody will ever get it. You need an email. You need the email of the right person. And ladies, I've been giving you the tea. I'm telling you, this is the teapot, okay? This email directory is phenomenal. It is a website called getemail.io, and it will give you the email address of just about anybody you are looking for in the world. I use it all the time. It will give you emails. It doesn't matter if the person is in Italy, Germany. I use it all the time, all over the world. It will give you their email address, and that's who you're sending it to. Right now, the great news is that getemail.io, they will give you like the first, I think it's like 10 or 15 emails for what? For free. So utilize them. And then it is subscription based. I think it's about $60 a month. But use those free emails so that you are sending your information to the right person. Okay. Now, this is the grant research. People ask, how do I find the grants? Where are the grants? Where are the grants? Okay, this is how you find the grants. Foundation Directory Online is the leading source of grant information in the U.S. They will give you the organization, right? They will give you the organization that's providing funds, right? They don't give you a list of grants. They give you the organization. They're about $50 a month. Instrumental.com is more pricey. They're about $200 a month. They give you the grant, right? The actual grant application, the funder, the 990, and some training. Grants.gov, we know those are for your federal grants. The Lilly Foundation, I always have churches and faith-based organizations on here, and yes, you can get grant money too. The Lilly Foundation is the largest funder of religious organizations. GrantGopher.com, do you have any educational programming that you are wanting to seek funding for? Grant Gopher is good for that, and that's a free site, and so is grants.gov and the Lilly Foundation. I like Grant Watch because they have a ton of last minute grants, and also they provide you with the actual grant application itself as well as the funder, and they're about $20 a week. Okay. Grant Station I like because they give trainings, but they also have a lot of grant openings for for-profit. So if you're a for-profit, you can go to Grant Watch or Grant Station or the Foundation Directory Online and find out what grants or funders provide different grants to you. Now, for the minority organizations that are with me, you need to know about urbanawarenessusa.org because they provide, they're Black owned, but they also provide different grants for minority organizations. Now, this is just a sample of what you do. And I want you to really pay attention here because this is how you find the grants. This is the website of Grant Watch. And so this is the home page. So you have criteria to the left here where you're putting all of these variables. You decide in the middle, am I nonprofit, business, or individual, right? You put in, do I want federal grants or foundation grants? You put in local or national. And I always say, start local first if you can. Now you can apply for local and national funds for sure, but please, there's so much money in your local community. Start local first. All right. So you put in here whether or not you want grants that are provided by local organizations or maybe national organizations, right? Or both. So you decide. Then you put in who is your target population? Who are you trying to help? Because that's how you match with the funder, because all funders have in mind some type of population that they give funds to, right? And then your subject. I have a lot of fashion designers and fashion organizations that take my webinars. So that's arts and culture. Maybe it's education. Maybe it's, business and development. Maybe you have a service organization where you help career development people. Maybe they've been fired or they want to see where their next job is, or maybe they want to become an entrepreneur and they're coming to you for career development services. That would be business and industry, right? So you put in the subject, you put in all of this information into Grant Watch, you literally hit a button and it will bring up for you grant opportunities based on all of the variables that you put in. So this is how You find grants. Now, I said I was going to provide actual grant opportunities for you. If you are a for-profit woman-owned business, you have to sign up to helloalice.com. That is the largest portal right now of grants for for-profit women-owned businesses. And it's free. It's a free site. It's incredible, right? Facebook has a Black Creators Grant. Amber Grants for Women, they give away $10,000 every single month. National Association for the Self-Employed Growth Grants, right? I call these next to the credit card grants. They're for women of color who are business owners. So there's one from Visa and then MasterCard. FedEx has a small business grant. So if you are a nonprofit and you have a wellness program or you have a program that deals with sports, you need to know about the Women's Sports Foundation. Grants for Women is another site that lists all kinds of grants for you, whether or not you're a nonprofit or for profit. Now, maybe you don't want a grant. Maybe you want an investor. 37angels.org is an organization of female angel investors, and all they do is invest in women-owned small businesses, and it's up to $150,000. That is a lot of money, okay? The Tory Burch Foundation, I Fund Women, Cartier has a grant. And for those of you who are startups, yes, there's grant funding for you, right? So if you are a startup, you can also do research, but I can tell you that InSile has a grant program just for startup organizations, okay? So don't think just because you're a startup that there's no money for you. Now, I want you to put really quickly into the chat, when you think about banks and money, what do you think about? Okay, banks and money, put into the chat. Banks and money, put into the chat, banks and money. What do you think about when you think about banks and money? Yes, you think about loans, right? Loans, more loans, yes, loans, credit, bad credit, rejection applications. Did you know that banks, fees, and more fees, right? Did you know that banks are some of the largest provider of grants in the country? Not loans, grants. You've been going to the wrong people. So your branch manager is probably going to try to sell you a loan. Your loan officer is going to try to sell you another loan. You need to find in your bank, in your community. It doesn't have to be the bank that you bank with, right? It doesn't have to be your own business bank, your own personal bank. You want to find a bank in your community that has a really good footprint, right? You see several different locations of the bank, and you know that they have a great footprint in your community. You're going to seek out the vice president of that bank. It could be a vice president of community investment or community development or economic development. It has to be a vice president. Many of them have grant making abilities. You want to set up a meeting, and I told you how to set up meetings with that bank vice president, right? Now, a young lady was taking this webinar literally, and afterwards, she found a bank that had a great presence in her area. It doesn't have to be your own bank. And she applied for a $2.3 million grant, not loan, grant, right? So yes, banks provide grant funding. Okay, you need to know that. Now, you also need to be able to network with other women business organizations, right? Whether you're a nonprofit or entrepreneur, it depends on what the organization is. Grants for Women, I told you, that's another site. Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs. And if you are on here, please give yourself a shout out. That is a Facebook group of over 660,000 women entrepreneurs. Okay. National Association of Women Business Owners. I'm a member of the Cleveland chapter, American Business Women's Association, the Female Entrepreneur Association. Did you know that the SBA had an Office of Women's Business Ownership? Ladies Who Launch. Their grant, I think, is ongoing. I think their grant deadline is the end of this month. So please check them out. Women's Business Centers of Ohio, right? There would be a similar organization in other states, right? So you need to be able to connect, okay, with other organizations. Now, I asked you to stay until the end because we're going to do an extensive Q&A in just a couple of minutes, but I want to talk to you about something because I have been in this business for 15 years. And as I said before, I have not seen the amount of money that I've seen now that is available. I can only help so many people writing one grant at a time. So I decided to do something about it. I created a very easy to use grant writing course that includes my coaching that will help you get this money. Okay, because I want you to really have a step-by-step path to this funding. What I don't want you to do is try to get grants alone. I am tired of hearing horror stories about people being scammed, right? Somebody walking up to you or sending you an email or Facebook DM saying, if you give me $50, I'll write 3 grants for you. No, no, those are scammers, right? I want you to be in a community that is safe for you, that you can ask questions, that you can get the support you need so that you can be impactful. I want you to think about, what could you do with a $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 grant to open, right? This is free money. Why are you not using other people's money? Okay. I want you to be able to save time. And this particular course literally will cut 50% off of the time it takes you to research and write a grant. Okay. So I get this question all the time. Is there a grant for fill in the blanks? More than likely, yes, there's a grant for almost anything. And you will not even need to ask that anymore, because I will give you the right grant methods to find grants for you, for your organization, right? Because I give you these great research techniques. And yes, I show you how to find funders who literally are looking to give you money. These foundations have pools of money that they're looking to give, right? And I talked to you about the letter. There's other ways that you approach that funder that is critical. And of course, I teach you how to write every part of the narrative, right? Because you need to know how to write every part of that application. And I give you real grant examples, okay? And every grant example in this course I wrote myself, and it won money. So if I ask you, I want you to write about your history, I'm giving you an example of how you write about the history of your organization. So you're getting 12 modules. There's over 35 lessons now. People learn differently. So I always start every lesson with a video, right? Where I'm talking to you about the subject, and then I'm giving you the lesson plan. And look, this is fun, right? Because you're writing about what you love. You're writing about your organization, right? So this is not hard work, because you're literally thinking about how you work and the work that you do and how you are changing lives. And of course, I give you those, there's such fun and funny quizzes. And of course, I give you, yes, real grant examples. Absolutely. And I'm doing something that nobody else is doing. I assure you, nobody else is doing this. I give you a list of over 400 funding organizations. So you're ready. Literally, you have a list of over 400 organizations that provide grants. And I know a lot of leaders who provide these courses. You buy the course and they're gone. You never see them again. I have a private Facebook group that you're going to be a part of. I'm in there almost every day answering questions. And if you are in that Facebook group, give yourself a shout out, because it is phenomenal. The community, the students help each other. If you want somebody to look at your grant application and you ask them, people are always willing to do that. And then I go beyond that, right? I give you an hour of group coaching, and that's with me. That's not with anybody else. Like literally every month we have group coaching, and you are here at the best time, because our next monthly group coaching session is Monday at 7:00. So you could not have started at a better time, right? And so how much is this costing? Well, I've had the course audited 3 times, right? And the modules are worth $3,549. The videos are worth $599. Just the list of funders, that's worth $500. And then I give you, of course, downloadables, workbooks. You can download everything, even the videos, planners, grant trackers, because you know it's important to track your grants, right? So that you keep yourself organized. Well, the course is valued at $4,997. The regular price is $997. What are we in, ladies? We're in Women's History Month. So I sell this course for $497 every single day. But you decided to come on my webinar with me. You spent an hour with me. So guess what? I cut the price in half. One payment, $249. That's it. You're done. And most people always ask me, Linda, okay, I can do this a month. I can make this monthly payment. This is not a monthly payment. This is one payment. You're one and done. And because it's Women's History Month, I do something that everybody who knows me know I don't do. If you can't make the $247, I give you 2 different payments that you can make. And each payment is $137.50. And I don't drip my course. Like, you get everything. I don't drip my course. Even if you just pay the $137.50, you get the whole course Okay, so thank you, Irene, for putting the link in there. You have to use the code though, so this is important. If you want 50% off the $497 for the $247, you have to use this code, and it's all lowercase. Okay, it's 50% off, but yes, it's for 3 days only. So you have 3 days to get this deal. The course is normally $497. You're getting it for $247 for one payment. Thank you. Or 2 payments for $137.50. You don't even need the code. If you choose the 2 monthly payments, you don't need the code. But yes, it's just for 3 days only. And I'm a small business owner. I have nonprofits with me. I have for-profits with me. Look, we get busy. Okay, so that's why I made sure that this course never expires. It never expires, right? It's self-paced. You go at your own pace. At the end of this course, you have your complete grant proposal that you can use to apply, take pieces of it to apply to other real applications, right? Because you've written about your organization in a way that is going to be important and you're ready to go. I literally give you a list of, it's 450 now, grant providers. Yes, nobody else is doing that. So this is everything that you get. We didn't even talk about the letter of inquiry, right? Yes, it's self-paced. No, there's no expiration date. And ladies, it is tax deductible, right? Literally, it's tax deductible. And there's the code. You can use it. Everything ends Saturday. If you decide to purchase it and you go to the page, this is what you see. So you can click the $497 and put in the discount and it goes down to $247, or you can choose the 2 payments of $137.50 and you don't even need a code. And this is a page that you go to where it says have a coupon. If you're making the 1 payment of $247, you just put in the coupon code and it will take off the $250. You make the 1 payment of $247 and that's it. And I always provide the ability for you to talk to me one-on-one privately. That's normally $495 an hour, but if you buy the course, you get the Ask the Expert private coaching with me one-on-one. It's just you and I for $195 for that 1 hour. So that's just a little extra that I add if you're going to buy the course. Why is this important right now? So we're in the first quarter, and what you need to know, and this is, please hear me out. There are grants that when the money is gone, the money is gone, like Walmart, Verizon. They will tell you, please apply as soon as you can, because by the time you get to summer, there's no more money. So there are some organizations where they have applications where they take year round, but there are others, like I said, when the money is gone, it's gone. So please, whatever you do, start applying now for these grant opportunities. Because if you look to get with an organization like a Walmart or Verizon and you wait too late, the money has been expended, right? So I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to be able to get some of what? The $90 billion that we know are available. These are just some testimonials. I literally got this one yesterday from Paula. She said, I'm taking the course now. I love how you can go at your own pace and the downloads are awesome. I can't believe we get all what we get for such a great price. I literally got this yesterday. It's like, I had me in tears. And the videos are on point as if she is talking directly to me one-on-one. Thank you. And where's the money? Kelly got $75,000 for her colleague and even more for her. Quintetta said, yesterday, I just got my first grant letter. Farah, you can't make this up, got 5 church grants for her mother, right? Reverend Christine got over $35,000 for her church ministry. Like all of this is happening within the last 2 months. So definitely, I want to be able to help you. I'm going to the Q&A. I'm going to go over to the Q&A. And then if you have some questions in the chat, I have that for you. What I want to do now, you're going to get a replay. So I want you to please put this, both of these emails into your safe senders list. Grant writing for non-writers.com. I want you to put both of these emails because I want you to get the replay so that you have all of the information. So yes, it is in Saturday. So the discount ends Saturday. Okay. Let me stop my presentation here. All right, and go here. So now I can see everyone. All right. Yes, it really is Kizzy, send me an email. Yes. Kizzy, send me an email. Yes. So it really is just $247. A lot of people are asking if it's a monthly rate. No, yes, it really is a $5,000 course for $247. People who know me personally know that I'm a woman of faith. I'm a servant leader. And so my mission is to help you. If you've had any similar journey like me as a woman-owned business, and this is my 15th year, yes, I am here to help you, okay? Because I know your journey has not been an easy one, because I can assure you that mine has not been. So yes, it really is $247 for everything that you see. The coaching is Monday. Oh man, I want to see you. So for those of you who are left with me, sometimes you have to speak things into the universe. I want you to put into the chat, I'm ready to get grant money. Right now into the chat, I'm ready to get grant money. While I look for these questions, I want to see you put this into the chat. I'm ready to get grant money. I'm ready to get grant money, because I want you to be ready. Please don't wait. Whatever you do, if you don't buy this course, if you don't do anything for me, you have a free webinar. I don't want you to be in this same place a month from now asking about grants, right? Trying to find out where the grants. I heard there was grant information. Women's organizations are getting grants. I heard there was grant money for for-profits. Yes, 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 to all of it. Like, why not you? Why? That's what I'm talking about. Nicole, Calissa, Catherine, Hope, Scholastica, Wanda, Elizabeth, I'm ready to get grant money. Simone, Tammy, Chris, Kizzy, I'm ready to get grant money. Like, it's time. Like, what? Please don't wait. What I can assure you of is that I don't know how much longer the money is going to be available. I know it's available now, right? What did we see? $90 billion just last year. I know that money for profits, for women-owned businesses and women-led nonprofits is available now because of what happened to George Floyd, because of COVID-19. Is it going to be here 6, 7, 8 months from now? I have no idea. Swati, this is phenomenal for you. You want to be a grant writer. I didn't put up the testimonial from Carla. Carla took the course because she wanted to be a grant writer, and now she is a grant writer, and it's literally 360 degrees. Now she is helping other people to get grant money based on her becoming a grant writer, right? I've secured $17 million. I know what I'm talking about. This course, you've seen the testimonies. There are so many others, even in the Facebook group. The Facebook group is fire, I'm telling you. The Facebook group is fire. And if you buy the course, you get admission to the Facebook group, and it is fire. I'm telling you, it is fire. It really is. All right. So let me go to the Q&A. Once award grant funds, will you ever have to follow with documentation to the grant provider? Okay, great question. So I think you're asking, if you get an award for grant funding, do you have to follow up with documentation to the grant provider with proof of how the funds were used? Absolutely. Absolutely. This is critical. Hear me out, okay? It's called a grantee report. So on that grantee report, you have to include how you use the money. Okay, now they're not all of them. It depends, right? But most funders that I'm aware of, they're not asking for like you to provide receipts, right? Some of them may. Now the federal grants are totally different. The federal grants, they want receipts, okay? But for these other grants, typically they don't ask for receipts. They just want to know, how did you use the money? If you said you were going to use the $20,000 to buy IT, we want to make sure that you use the $20,000 to buy IT. So you have to track how you're using the money, because if they do request it, you have to be able to provide it to them. So always track. And I teach you this in the course. Track how you use the money. Earmark it differently so that the $20,000, you track exactly what you spent it on. So yes, you do. So Charlene sent me an email, and yes, it does. So Charlene, you're asking about grants for startups. So I did cover that, and I even gave you one organization, InSile. InSile provides grants for startups. So there are absolutely grants for startups, yes. Would paying clients be considered other funding? I'm not sure what you mean. Do you mean if you have a service where you're having customers? No, that's a little different. So this is funding that you are receiving where there's no exchange of a service, right? So that's what funding is. So anytime you exchange a service, that's not considered funding. So it has to be money that you get where there's no exchange of a service. Oh, Stephanie, that's a good question. Yes, you can include that. Okay. So yes, you can include that as other funding. You can include tithes as other funding. What suggestions do you have for churches? So Stephanie, the Lilly Foundation is the largest funder for churches, right? 2 years ago, they earmarked $23 million to give to Black churches and HBCUs. So you need to check out the Lilly Foundation. Also, the Mustard Seed Foundation. They only give money to faith-based organizations and churches. Okay. All right. So that's it for the Q&A. We're going to go back to the chat. And I think we're going to wrap everything up. That's right, Lottie and Swati and Jacqueline. We're ready. Be ready. Please, please don't be in the same position a month from now, because people that look just like you, other women, are getting this money every single day. Every single day. What I want you to do is be in a community of support and safety. I do not want you to be scammed. I'm tired of hearing all these stories. I hear stories almost every day of people being scammed by people who claim they know how to write grants, right? Even if you're going to hire a grant writer, that's fine. Take the course, because you need to know what questions they should be asking you, right? Inform yourself. And at the end of the day, invest in yourself. This is a small amount of money, excuse me, compared to what you might be able to get. Like you invest $247. I don't know of any $247 grants. The lowest grant I've ever seen was maybe $1,000. So you can make this money back with your first grant. Plus it's tax deductible, right? So let me just make sure there are no other questions. And yes, everybody is going to get a link to the entire replay. All right, so let me make sure there are no other questions. Yes. Let me put in the email addresses again. I want you to put these in your safe senders list, because I don't want your replay going to spam. All right. So I think at the top, there's a couple more, and then we're going to wrap it up, because I think we're done. All right. How is it taxed? Because it's an educational expense for your business or your nonprofit. This is an educational expense. This course you're learning, you get a certificate at the end of the course to say that you completed the course. So this is an educational expense, right? So it's tax. Any educational expense is tax deductible. Okay. For your business or your nonprofit. And actually, I don't even want to go into individually. Some educational expenses talk to your accountant, but for a business or a nonprofit, this is absolutely tax deductible. How would you meet with them, especially if they were government funds? So something that you need to know about government funds, even for this is key. Even for the government grants, there's always a person that they list as a contact person always. I've done this before. I've met with the contact person for a government fund. I've sent them emails. Now, you're not going to Zoom with them, right? But you're going to communicate with them via email so that they can answer your questions. But definitely. Okay, I think we are done. I want to thank everybody for coming on with me today. Again, I'm Linda Peavy, and I am the owner of LaPave Consulting, LLC. I am also the founder of the course Grant Writing for Non-Writers, Keys to Winning Grant Proposals. I truly hope to see you in the group on Monday, because that group coaching, it is a deep dive for your organization. Okay, if you have other questions, once you Of course, once you buy the course, if you have other questions, we do a deep dive for you and your organization. Plus, the Facebook group, I'm telling you, is lit every day. I'm telling you, it is. It just is. It just is. Like I put so much grant information in that Facebook group. It's like amazing. And people contribute. Even the other students are always putting new grants in there. So it is lovely. Okay, so I thank you again. Thank you so much. And I really do hope you move your organization forward. Just don't be in the same place. Use the information to get some of this grant money that's out here, because it really, really is. So thank you all so much. And again, I hope to see you in the Facebook group. I hope to see you in the group coaching on Monday. And I wish you all the blessings and all the best. So thank you so much. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.